What up, y'all? DCFAYGOGUY. Today we're going to be reviewing Kung Fu Vampire's brand new album, Black Heart Machine. It finally came out. I've been waiting on this. I've been waiting on this for a while. Back in like 2021 sometime, I had uh, I had asked Kung Fu Vampire, or I'd said something about it coming out on Valentine's Day, just because of the name of the album, and he said that was actually when it was coming out. That was in 2022. It didn't come out, and I kind of made it like the joke of I got stood up by his new album. 2023's Valentine's Day came around, and still no Black Heart Machine. But I was very patient. He had dropped plenty of singles for it, and for the longest time, I didn't listen to any of them. I'm not real huge on singles because I feel like if I listen to singles too much and then the album comes out, they tend to be songs that I feel the urge to skip because I'd already listened to them so much. But I did finally break down and I added all of his singles from this album onto a playlist called Singled Out because, singles get singled out. I never really listened to them. So that was a punny little playlist that I made sometime last year. And I threw everything he had put out in there. But ultimately, I didn't listen to them a terribly amount of times because I didn't want to ruin the listening experience for Black Heart Machine. And it worked out. It worked out quite a bit. So, yeah, definitely been waiting on this one. And Kung Fu Vampire, this is kind of his usual mix of horrorcore, EDM, and his chopper style, his fast rapping. To me, it's Kung Fu Vampire leveling up again, one more time. So, I know a lot of juggalos have kind of like fallen off from Kung Fu Vampire, but I think he's still fucking killing it. He's growing, and that's what I like. I like it when artists grow and just continue to expand. You know what I mean? So he shows a lot of juggalo love in this album. There's specifically in Bigger Than Rap, he makes a reference to ICP and how he's a proud member of their circus. He gives a shout out to The Gathering. He like whoop whoops. Fucking love it. He shows juggalo love in that. And one thing about the song 5 a.m., 6 a.m., I never caught it, never really paid attention to it when I was listening to the singles, but listening to this album, and mainly kind of after I had heard the shout outs that he had in Bigger Than Rap, I went back and I re listened to the album, and during that song, 5 a.m., 6 a.m., he kind of like gives me ICP vibes in the way that in the way that there's a part where he raps and it reminds me of some ICP shit. And I don't know if that was his aim, his goal, whatever. I think he was just feeling it, the way that the beat kind of switched up and went. But I'm like, I got straight up ICP vibes from that. Kind of mainly like, I want to say from some of the Hollow Wicked singles, which the one that I'm thinking of in particular is one of the like newer ones that have come out that I think a lot of people don't really care for. But he gave me straight up ICP vibes in the way that he rapped. And the other thing too in that song that kind of like I was almost waiting for was he was also sounding a little bit like Acetone. If you don't know who Acetone is, he's a juggler well known in the Arizona area, but he just put out an album this year as well. And there's a song he has where he like says, I don't remember how you say it now, but it's Much Clown Love in Spanish. I think it's Much Peso Love, I think it was. But there's a really cool fucking Much Clown Love like shout out that Acetone put out in his song or on his album that I kept waiting for from Kung Fu Vampire because in the way that they were rapping in their two songs, they sound super duper similar. And I just kept waiting for that. And that made me realize like I think those two would actually do really good together on an album. So one of the other notes that I have written down here is the one beat by Charlie Beans. Like when it was first teased that Charlie Beans did a song for Kung Fu Vampire, instantly hype. I really fucking love Charlie Beans' production. He's in my top 5 favorite producers. There's something about the beats that he makes that I fuck with on a heavy level. There's just a vibe to it that I vibe with. Like, I don't know if we're on the same wavelength with it or what it is. I vibe to his beats like crazy. And the song that he produced on here is Sugar. And for whatever reason, this feels very foreign for being a Charlie Beans beat. Now, when I went into this, listening to the album, my first thought was, I'm going to listen for this Charlie Beans beat. And I thought I had it narrowed down, and I was way wrong. I come to find out it's actually Sugar that he produced, and it just doesn't sound the same, you know? And I would really love to hear more Charlie Beans with Kung Fu Vampire, because I feel like they would have a similar vibe, like the vibe that I'm picking up from Charlie Beans beats and the vibe that I get from Kung Fu Vampire. I just feel like an album of Charlie Bean beats would be great with Kung Fu Vampire on it. And kind of my testament to that is when you go listen to Gibby Stites' new album On Demand, which that review's coming soon. The song Nocturnal, it's Charlie Beans featuring, or it's Gibby Stites featuring Kung Fu Vampire, and it's a Charlie Beans beat, and that shit is fucking fire. And I want to hear more of that. And I know that Kung Fu is very loyal to Paxton. That's his engineer, does some of the production for him. And I feel like, and I know Kung Fu Vampire would say like he wants to use a mixed bag. And I think he might have said that because I feel like I had put that out there in the past that I want to hear a full album of Charlie Beans beat. And I don't remember what he said back to me. But man, that's a wish list thing right there, is to have an album with, if not all Charlie Bean beats, 90%, 75%, even half of the album produced by Charlie Beans. I just really love Charlie Bean's production, and I just can't hype that up enough. And if you're curious to hear some of the beats that I'm referring to, obviously go listen to some Gibby Stites. There's Charlie Beans production everywhere. If you go listen to On Demand, they actually left the Charlie Beans producer tag in there. Hit him in the heart, Charlie. That's instantly going to tell you it's a Charlie Beans beat. But if you go listen to, oh Jesus, I'm going to screw up the name of it real quick. But if you go listen to Mad Season by Twisted, I think it's Follow Me is a Charlie Beans Charlie Beans beat. If you go listen to Dead Vulture, the EP that Blaze Ya Dead Homie put out back in 2016, that's all Charlie Beans production. Yeah, I just can't fuck with Charlie Beans. We need to get back onto Kung Fu Vampire because I'm turning this into a fucking Charlie Beans love fest. So let's talk about tracks real quick. It is a 13-track album, and it's your usual Kung Fu Vampire. It's kind of a short listen. The songs are short, and if I remember correctly, he had said he does that on purpose. He did that with Come Dawn. He made them shorter songs, so I think he said something about replay value, like it makes you like re-listen to the album more. And I like that idea, but I also kind of hate that idea because like I don't know. It's a good formula. It works for me because obviously I replay the albums, especially the ones that I really, really like. So let's talk about our top tracks. I didn't go over the track list. I feel like I should do that. The last couple of reviews that I've done now, I didn't do that. I'm kind of changing the way I'm doing reviews. I'm not showing albums anymore because I'm not really buying a lot of physical media at the time, at the moment. So I don't really have a lot to show. So I feel like I should at least definitely, for sure, go over the track list. So track 1 is Sugar. Track 2 is Black Heart Machine. Track 3 is How I'm Living. Track 4 is Gimme Skull. Track 5 is 5 a.m., 6 a.m. Track 6 is Neck and Neck. Track 7 is For Sure. Track 8 is These Days. Track 9 is Bigger Than Rap. Track 10 is Torment. Track 11 is Eddie Money. Track 12 is Expired. And track 13 is No More Bad Days. Now my top 5. Top 5 tracks are Gimme Skull, 5 a.m., 6 a.m., Neck and Neck, Bigger Than Rap, and Torment. Those are my top 5. With my favorite being Neck and Neck. Something about that beat I love. And that was the one at first. I was like, this has to be Charlie Beans, right? It was instantly one of the most standout ones out of everything on there. And I was like, this has to be Charlie Beans, right? This is Charlie Beans? And I found out it wasn't Charlie Beans. Whoever did that song or whoever did that beat, that's good. That's a good beat. When it first starts, it honestly reminds me of, if you guys remember, the song Changes. I think it's Changes. It's either Change or Changes by Tupac. It's the same beat that ICP used when they did the Mom song. That actually has a sample from a pianist, Bruce Hornsby. That's just the way it is the song. For whatever reason, that just reminds me of that song. Do-do-doo, do-do-doo, do-do-doo. I love it. Instantly was hooked as soon as I heard it. Like that started and I was like, all right, I already love this song. It hasn't even really began. You get into the chorus and you get into the song. I really, really, really like it. Interestingly, this song features AWACS, which did a project with King ISO. And I had seen Kung Fu Vampire had met up with King ISO. One, let's just get it out of the way. When the fuck is Tech Nine and Kung Fu Vampire gonna finally link up? Like, Jesus Christ, how long has it been since we've kind of had this tease of them doing some shit together, and it hasn't happened yet. I'm so anxiously awaiting for that feature, and I feel like I'm gonna get so excited for it, and it's gonna be such a minor feature, like when Kung Fu Vampire and Twisted finally did a song together, and I'm not talking about off of Look Alive. When they finally did, like when Twisted finally put Kung Fu Vampire on a track, it was for Wasted Part 2. That to me was a letdown because it was a posse track, and I'm not a huge fan of posse tracks. But then we finally got Duality, which is Kung Fu Vampire featuring Twisted, and it was fire. I feel like it's going to be another one of those situations where Tech and Kung Fu Vampire are going to finally work together. And I'd been holding out for so long for it, and I just get disappointed. I feel like that's going to happen, but I hope not. But those two still have to link up. I'm super excited for that if it ever happens. But King ISO would be another one that I would be super curious to hear. And I feel like that was close to happening because AWACS is on that song. Sorry, I didn't mean to tap the desk, vibrated into the mic. But yeah, Kung Fu Vampire's Black Heart Machine just dropped back in April 20th. I have not picked up a physical copy yet. As of right now, my plan is to pick it up at the Gathering because Kung Fu Vampire is coming back to the Gathering, and I believe this is his first main stage performance, if I'm not mistaken. Which is fucking dope. I can't fucking wait for the Gathering. Can't wait to see Kung Fu Vampire kick it with him again. He's on tour right now for this album. Unfortunately, not coming to Indiana, but because he's going to the Gathering and I'm going to the Gathering, I'm okay with missing this tour. But hopefully, if he goes on a second leg, he comes closer because Kung Fu Vampire kills it. And of course, he always hangs out afterwards to meet the fans. So if you've ever wanted to meet Kung Fu Vampire, you don't have to pay to meet him. He does a free fucking meet and greet. And obviously, if you're going to the Gathering, he's usually at his merch table, assuming he has one this year. I don't know. But yeah, super excited to see Kung Fu Vampire again. It's been a while. And yeah, Black Heart Machine. Tell me down below what you guys thought about the album. If you've listened to it, if you haven't, go give it a spin. Go check out Kung Fu Vampire, Black Heart Machine. If you have heard it, tell me down below what your favorite tracks are and what you like about the album. I thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.